These exercises can relieve your lower back pain in just 60 seconds. I'm Dr. Jared, and in this video, I'm actually going to show you 6 of the most effective exercises that you can do to alleviate your lower back pain fast, in as little as 60 seconds. My hope is that you try all of these exercises and that there's at least one, preferably 2 or 3 or 4, that offer you some great relief. And then you can come back and perform those regularly to help improve your lower back overall and feel better. The first thing that I always like to start with is some form of massage or trigger point release to your lower back. To do that at home, we're just gonna need either a tennis ball or a racket ball. If you like the massage to be a little more firm and dig in there a little deeper, some sort of baseball, lacrosse ball works well. And then also we're going to do this on the floor. Carpeted floor or even like a yoga mat works great. The bed is just a little too soft. But what I want you to do is lie down on your back with your knees bent, and then we're gonna push up into a bridge, just lift your hips up off of the ground to put that tennis ball right underneath your lower back, just off to the side of the spine. It's important that I mention I don't want it directly on the vertebrae. We're trying to focus our efforts on the muscles just to each side of the spine, so make sure we get it in the right place. From there, you can use your legs, you can use your hips to lower down onto that ball to your pain threshold and to your pain tolerance. And then once you're there, I already started doing it just automatically, we can kind of move the hips side to side to massage and to work and to knead that area with that ball. And what I would do is spend about 5 seconds there and then move it a little bit. You can go up, you can go down. We can spend 5 seconds there. If your pain is primarily located on one side, we want to focus over there, but I do recommend that we do this one on both sides. One more thing that I like to show people is if you do have an area that's particularly tight or tender, if you have one of those trigger points in your spine, what we can then do is actually move the hips and move up into this position and back down. Now that is a little more tender, it is a little more aggressive, but it's a way that we can actually stretch, we can expand and contract that muscle underneath that pressure, usually a little bit more effective in eliminating some of those trigger points or alleviating some of those knots. And I would try this for about 60 seconds. Next, let's try out some stretches. In my experience, these are 3 of the best. We're gonna start with a lumbar rotation stretch. You're going to lie down on your back with your knees bent. Now, really simple in this position. I want you to put your feet together, knees together, and drop both knees over to one side while your shoulders stay flat. Basically, what we're trying to do is rotate through that lower back, create some separation, some rotation in your back and in your hips right here into this position. So I'm dropping over to the left. I would hold that in a comfortable position for about 10 to 20 seconds, and then I'm gonna come back to the right and do the same thing. Now, if that feels okay, I always like to show people kind of phase 2 to that exercise. It's a little more aggressive, but if you can tolerate it, it's also a little more effective. Now what I'm going to do is kick my left leg out straight. With my left hand, I'm going to grab the outside of my right knee and then use that left hand to pull over here towards you. And again, trying to keep your shoulders flat to the ground. Sometimes it's helpful with your other hand to actually extend it out back behind you. So it's this position right here. But what you should feel with that is a deeper stretch to your lower back and then also a deeper stretch to your hip as well. And then the same parameters on that, hold that for 10 to 20 seconds in each direction and then repeat that 3 times. The next stretch is going to be for your deep hip rotators. This is a piriformis stretch. In my experience, 9 people out of 10 with lower back pain have some tightness in this muscle. Try this stretch out. I hope it offers you some great relief. To stretch out my left piriformis, what I'm going to do is cross my left leg over my right, and now with my hands, I'm going to dive right down into this space right here and hook behind the back of my right knee. From here, what I can do is pull that right knee up towards my right shoulder until I get just a really good stretch down there in that left deep hip. Just a really good stretch, a really great way to open up some of that rotation, stretch out those hips. I would hold that for 20 seconds and repeat it 3 times. If you want to, you can certainly do that one on both sides. And then finally, the last stretch that I love to show people for lower back pain is going to be a flexion stretch just for your entire spine. This is a child's pose stretch. And so you're going to kneel down on the ground with your hands out in front of you. From here, what I want you to do is just slowly sit down onto your heels while keeping your hands glued right in place. And so keeping my hands right there, I'm going to sit down on my heels, tuck my chin down into my chest until I get just a really good stretch throughout my entire back, but you're also really gonna feel that in your lower back. And so I'm gonna hold that in a comfortable position for 20 seconds. The other thing that I like to show people with that is that if your lower back pain is biased on one side, so for example, if I had more pain on my left side, what I can do is actually walk my hands over here to the right. Now as I sit down, that's going to enhance that stretch on the left, make it a little more aggressive, but also make it a little more effective. So if you can tolerate that, you can also kind of walk your hands side to side, see how that feels, come up with what feels best for you. Hey, which of these exercises has offered you the most relief? I'm curious, leave me a comment down below, hit the thumbs up if you have gotten some relief from this video. Also, have you had a chance to check out Tone and Titan's new members area right here on YouTube? You can get bonus content from me, there's additional perks available. If you want to learn more about it, hit join to do that. Okay, now our last two exercises are two of my favorite for core strengthening. This is a great way to not only get out of pain now with some muscle activation, but also prevent that pain from coming back as we increase core strength. So I hope these help you out. First of all is going to be some bridges. So lie down on your back with your knees bent. In this position, what I want you to do is engage your core. So use your muscles to draw your belly button in towards your spine. That's going to activate your deepest core layer. Hold that contraction while squeezing your glutes to lift your hips up towards the ceiling. So we should just feel nice and tight through the back. You're going to feel it in the hamstring and in the glutes. But again, I want you to engage that core as well. So you should feel that right up here in your abs. And then we're going to hold that for 3 to 5 seconds and then come right back down. Now, if you can do about 20 to 30 of those and it's not really that big of a deal, what we can do is progress that to the next level with some marches. So the setup is the same. I want you to embrace your abs, squeeze your glutes to lift into this position, hold everything tight, but now what I want you to do is try to march one leg up as high as you can and then slowly return right back down, and then march the other leg up and slowly return right back down. And again, this is just a great way to make the exercise a little more challenging. Your core your core muscles have to work a little harder to support you and stabilize you while going through this motion, but it's also a great way to make that exercise a little bit more effective. And about 10 to 15 reps, repeated 3 times, should take you about 60 seconds. Finally, the last exercise is going to be a bird dog exercise. To get into this one, we're going to come into all fours. And so my knees are below my hips, my hands are below my shoulders. What I'm going to have you do is extend your right leg back behind you while reaching your left arm straight in front of you in this position right here. We're going to hold 1, 2, and then come right back down. And then we're going to repeat that with the left leg kicking back behind you while reaching forward with the left arm. And what you should feel there is just a good, comfortable activation to a lot of those muscles in your lower back. One key thing that I want you to remember is try not to let your hip roll up towards the ceiling. Rather, we're going to keep our lower back nice and flat, nice and level while we're reaching with opposite hand and opposite leg. You're going to repeat that 10 to 15 times for 3 sets. I hope these help your lower back to feel amazing. Thank you so much for watching.